If you can avoid even half the mistakes in this video, you're gonna save yourself from a drained bank account, months of stress, and that gut punch feeling that you get when nothing that you're trying seems to work. We've helped over 10,000 beginners launch their first online store, and the ones who actually took off, it wasn't because of luck, it definitely wasn't some secret formula. They just knew what not to do. That's why in this video, I'm breaking down the top 10 beginner mistakes in dropshipping, but not just what they are, but also how to spot them early and how to move past them for good. So if you're tired of doing this blindly, this might be the shift that you've been waiting for. Man, lately, I've been seeing way too many beginners make the same mistake early on, where they're bouncing around, chasing whatever is trending, and then wondering why nothing's working. You need to stick with one strategy. Not 5, not whatever you saw on TikTok this morning, 1, because you want to stay consistent and then move with that momentum. Here's a golden rule that I give all my students. Just pick one traffic source, one product type, and one store model. No switching, no second guessing, just straight execution for 30 days. Because every time that you chase a new tactic, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not moving forward. You're basically just starting over. That's why you have to stay disciplined and give your strategy time to work. That's how this turns into something real. But let me be real though, even with the plan, most people still don't move because deep down, they're scared to mess up. That fear, man, it's what has you stuck in the mud. Not because you're lazy, but because you feel like you don't have room to mess up. Maybe you've only got a couple $100 to your name. Maybe you failed before, and now you're scared that you're gonna stay in that cycle. Or maybe you just don't want to look stupid. And look, I'm gonna tell you right now, I get it. But here's the truth. Waiting around for the perfect moment is really just fear disguised as patience. Because you don't need perfection. What you really need is progression. So the best thing that you can do is start with a product that's intentionally built to learn, not win. The goal isn't to scale. The goal is to choose a product, test it out, and to collect feedback. You're gonna gain way more momentum from one imperfect launch than 6 months of hesitation. But I do want you to be careful, because once you do finally get something off the ground, that's where most people fall into this next trap, which is product tunnel vision. Most beginners spend weeks hunting for that perfect product. They're watching YouTube videos, swiping through product pages, waiting for something to scream winner, and then never actually launch. Look, you're stacking bricks, not betting chips. That means creating an ecosystem of value, a real system, and not hoping one magical product carries the whole thing. There are probably 10 decent products sitting in front of you right now, but that tunnel vision, that's what's causing you to miss out on all of this. So you have to let the data tell you what works, not your guesswork. So take a moment, zoom out, and pick products that solve real problems. The game is about stacking wins, not chasing unicorns. And sometimes, stacking wins just means moving forward before you feel totally ready. Even Barack Obama used what he called the 51-49 rule. If he had 51% certainty on a choice, he moved forward. Because waiting for 100% clarity meant wasting time and potentially missing the moment. And the same principle applies here. If your product solves a real problem, has decent data behind it, and you're 51% sure, just run it. Because action beats analysis every time. But I mean, even if you got a list of solid products, it really doesn't mean anything if you don't know who you're selling them to. And with the product being the foundation to your success, I want to leave you with 10 winning products that you can actually take advantage of today, where each one of these products are proven to sell, have been vetted by myself and my team, and have been sold for more than 6 and even 7 figures. And let me just say, you're not just going to get winning products. I'm also going to give you everything that you need to start selling these successfully right away. I'm talking about the competitor ad, their store, suppliers, profit margins, everything that you need and more, so you can start successfully selling these products right away. And once this video reaches 1,000 likes, I'll drop the link to these products right below this video. This is a huge mistake that stores need to address right now, because it's genuinely killing their potential. And let me just say, if you do not know who you're selling to, you're guessing. And guessing costs money. Every ad that you run, every product page that you build, every offer that you test, it all falls flat if you don't understand the person on the other side. What do they really care about? What frustrates them? What makes them stop scrolling? You're not just selling a product, you're solving a problem. And if you can't speak directly to that pain or desire, you're really just noise. Let me just make this simple. I know you would not try to sell a headlamp to someone with a 9-to-5 office job who sits at their desk all day, right? And look, it's not that they couldn't buy it. It's that they're not the ones scrolling for it at 2 a.m. Now I want you to picture a plumber working under a sink, elbow deep in pipe water with zero visibility. That headlamp, it's not just a product anymore. At this point, it's a solution for them. So you have to understand that the difference isn't the product. It's who you're showing it to. So you dial in your customer, build that relationship, and everything else starts to click faster. And listen, if one of these mistakes hit home, then go ahead and drop it in the comments down below. And I'm gonna go ahead and pick one of these that I see the most, and I'm going to break it down step by step in its own video and help you get clear on exactly who you should be selling to. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a custom avatar worksheet right below this video that's gonna walk you through how to identify your ideal customer, speak to their real problems, and finally start building offers that actually convert. This is something that myself and my students fill out no matter what before we start selling the product. This way we understand exactly who we're speaking to before spending money on advertising. Now let's keep it moving. All right, listen, you get 1 second to grab attention. That's it. And most beginner ads, they can be pretty forgettable if I'm just gonna be completely honest. They have weak hooks, generic text, and basic footage. And I'm gonna tell you that people do not owe you their time. So you have to earn that click. You have to use contrast, show real emotion, and say something that actually strikes a chord. Make them ask the question, so you get the chance to be able to answer. If they can feel the problem and the payoff in the first second, the product basically already sells itself. Simply put, if no one's watching, no one's buying. But listen, a strong hook or great ads won't mean much if your store isn't customer ready. So you want to go find 3 to 5 ads in your niche that are actually getting views, comments, or shares. And you want to study them, not just to copy, but to understand. What did they do right? What made you stop scrolling and what grabbed your attention the most? What felt weak or boring? And now you need to list out all these different strengths and weaknesses inside of a document. And I have a link in the description right below this video that you can follow to understand how I fill this out when I'm viewing my competition. This document is important for you to focus on how to not reinvent the wheel, but to always do it better than your competitors. So after laying out all these strengths and weaknesses, all you have to do from here is just apply that same breakdown to your own ad and then rebuild it with intention. Use what works, cut what doesn't, and make sure that your hook earns that first second. Most beginners are making it way too easy for customers to click out of their stores because nobody's trying to solve a puzzle just to get to your product page. And if your store is making customers work way too hard to buy, they won't. That's why you have to look at your store from the eyes of a stranger. Is it obvious what you're selling? Is there a reason to buy now? Every second of friction is a lost sale. So you have to make it clear and avoid confusion, where you're not just selling a product, you're guiding a decision. And clear stores convert more than a clutter store every single time. So what's the best way to test your site? It's called the grunt test. If a caveman landed on your store, could he grunt back in the fewest words possible what you sell, how you make life easier, and what they need to do to buy it? If not, well, you got some work to do. But hey, let's say you are getting views, maybe even a few added carts, but no conversions. That's not bad luck. That's a signal. Most beginners just stare at their dashboard, waiting for the numbers to go up instead of learning what they actually mean. Content is king, but data is queen. And she's trying to tell you something. So you have to listen to her and always let her guide you, because you're not just running a store. You're reading signals and making plays. So you really just need to start with the basics. What's your click-through rate? What's your add to cart rate? What's your conversion rate? If something's off, don't panic, don't guess, and definitely don't start from scratch. You just have to learn to listen and then adjust. Because the best thing, in my opinion, about dropshipping is that it's like an equation. This is really a numbers game, where every time that you see a metric not doing well, there's a list of 1 to 3 solutions to increase the data point every time. For example, if click-through rate is off, you just fix the title or the thumbnail. That's it. This is why I love dropshipping, because every error in data always has a solution. So you just always need to keep in the back of your mind that your store or your ads aren't broken. You just haven't learned how to read the data yet. And listen, if you have made it this far, you've already got a leg up on 90% of people who are starting out. But what's coming next, it's the gap between being good and being great. And if you're still sitting there thinking, what am I missing? Well, chances are it's right here. So do not overlook this next part. To Too many beginners have the wrong idea about how much they actually need to spend, and it ends up wrecking their budget before they even get going. Listen, unlike traditional businesses, you don't need tens of thousands of dollars to get started, but $5 and a few TikToks, that's not gonna cut it either. So as a beginner, you basically got two options: learning versus earning. Allow me to explain. Say it's your first time ever touching a basketball. No experience, no training, nothing. What are the odds that you're gonna make it to the NBA tomorrow? It's not happening. We all know that. It's 100% not happening because you have to put in the real reps. Hours in the gym, thousands of bricks before you even get close to making threes. Or you can pay a coach who's trained real shooters, that has gone pro and fast tracks the process. The same thing applies for this business model. If you've never ran or you're just bad at running ads, but you expect to compete with people who've been doing it for years, that's just not realistic. So you either trade time or you trade money. That's the game. One way or another, you're going to have to pay to level up. And real talk, wealthy people always trade money for time because they understand that speed wins. You're not gonna outperform people who've been running ads for years by throwing $30 at it and then panicking when it doesn't work. I see too many beginners do this, then turn around and say dropshipping is dead. Nah, you just didn't give yourself a real shot. So you need a budget and the time allocation that you're really gonna spend towards it that's gonna match the goals that you wanna achieve. So you wanna find a winner, you need to test. You wanna scale, you need data. Both of these cost money, not crazy money, but real money. So you have to respect the process. Don't overspend, but also don't underprepare either. To be completely transparent, here's what that actually looks like. If you're working with a mentor who's guiding you step by step, you should expect to invest around $500 to $1,000 to get started. Now, on the other hand, if you're doing everything on your own, that number jumps to about $2,500 to $5,000 realistically, because you have to have some room for disposable income, knowing that you will make mistakes without having that guidance there. Now that we talked about budget, now let's talk about time. Traditional dropshipping, the real grind, you're looking at 20 to 40 hours a week, like a full-time job just to be able to see some success. Now, if you're using AI tools and automation, you can bring that number down to 10 to 20 hours a week, depending on how efficient your systems are. Because man, these days, most beginners are not prepping for growth, which is another major mistake. That means you have to focus on systems and not just shortcuts. So build your store like it's always going to blow up. Because if it does, which it will because you're here today and you're not ready for that, you will lose it just as fast. I've had stores do big numbers, but they didn't come out of nowhere. Before that happened, I'd already tested 17 different products. And yes, those products weren't making me money, but they did get me ready for the ones that did. If that had been my first store, it wouldn't have scaled like it did. I definitely would have fumbled it. Bad ads, weak supplier, no structure to handle the growth. That's why you have to set the foundation for now. So scaling doesn't break you later, because if things get messy and you're not ready, you will fumble the opportunity. So the best advice I can give you is from day one, act like a brand, because you might be one product away from changing everything for yourself, for your family, and for your next generations. I've seen it happen way too many times, where someone is this close to giving up, and then boom, that next product hits and it snowballs. But you see, most people quit right before that special moment, not because they weren't smart or capable, but because they were doing it alone. And honestly, if I could go back, that's the first mistake that I correct, thinking that I had to figure everything out myself, which just ultimately set me back way longer than I needed to. Having no community, no structure, no real feedback, just me, staying up late, hoping that I was doing it right. And I see that same story every single day. People who've done everything right, but still can't make it work. Then they start working with us, and that next product hits. Not because of luck, but because now they understand the data. They've got systems, support, and real-time guidance from people who've actually scaled 6 and 7 figure brands. So sometimes you're not far off. You're just missing the right eyes on your game. That's exactly why we built the Auto Ecom $100,000 challenge, to give beginners an actual shot, without guessing, without overthinking, and without doing it alone. We've launched this challenge to prove that with the right tools and guidance, dropshipping still works, but not the old way of dropshipping, but with AI-powered dropshipping. So I decided to participate in this challenge with you guys, to continue to keep proving concept. And I didn't start with some secret product or some secret recipe. I started with the same AI store builder that you get access to, built a brand new store from scratch, and I've already generated over $100,000 in 3 weeks. So I need you to understand that this isn't just a course. This is a system, a real community, a step-by-step challenge designed to help you launch, learn, and grow, and do it for real. And yes, there is a chance for you to win up to $100,000. So if you're tired of guessing, tired of stalling, and you're ready to actually make this work, then click the link in the description and join the challenge. And look, I just want to be transparent with all of you guys that every beginner messes up. That's just a part of the story of being able to be an entrepreneur. But what really separates the ones who make it is knowing what to fix and taking action before it's too late. So whether you're just starting or you failed before, you need to use this list. Fix what needs fixing and continue to keep pushing, because your first real win, it might be way closer than you think. And if you're dedicated, which I know you are because you watched this whole video and you're still somehow wondering if dropshipping is worth it, then you need to check this video out, because I gave myself just 24 hours to prove otherwise. In this video called I Tried Dropshipping for 24 hours, where you can watch me do this in real time. So I'll see you there, and I just want to say I thank you all for watching. This is AC with Supreme Ecom, and I'm out.